This video is going to be uncut, unedited. It's just going to be my current emotional state. So it's been about 3 hours since the trade. And if you don't know what trade I'm talking about Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. And while at first that trade seems awful, and it is, and I'm not defending Nico Harrison's decision on that trade. In fact, I think it's a very stupid trade for the Mavs. I think it's a worse trade for the Lakers, too. Because now the Lakers have no center. And hasn't that been the meme about the Lakers for the past 4 years? But I'm not a Lakers fan. I don't watch many Lakers games. What I do watch is a lot of Dallas Mavericks basketball. And while Luka has been battling injuries this season and therefore has not been playing very much this season, when he has played, it's been special because, he's still one of the best players in the league. In fact, it was last season when he led this team to the finals. Basically the exact same team. Difference between Najee Marshall and Derrick Jones Jr. Najee Marshall's got a little bit of a better offensive back. Quentin Grimes is there. He's a good defender as a backup guard compared to Jaden Hardy, who was like a sophomore in his sophomore season last year. But it was still Luka Doncic that led that Mavs team to the finals. In fact, if we look back at the series leading up to that, sure, his first round wasn't great. His second round was okay. Third round, conference finals. What did he do? Oh yeah, he hit a game winner on Rudy Gobert. And he also won Western Conference Finals MVP in a 5-game series. Gentleman's sweep over the favored Minnesota Timberwolves. And then while he didn't have the greatest finals performance, I think his finals performance was better than the rest of the teams. Kyrie has never played good against Boston in any game since he's left Boston. And not even in Boston, just in general. He does not play well against Boston. And his stats show that. If you look at his stats from the time he left Boston to now, he is a very statistically worse player against Boston. And in fact, we got better offensively and defensively in the offseason. So if Nico Harrison's reason for trading Luka is because, and I don't care if I'm saying his name wrong, he doesn't deserve to get his name said right. If the reason you trade Luka is because of defense, well, the defense is better than it was last year. And in fact, we're at the exact same point right now in the season than we were as compared to last year. It was through 48 games, we are whatever, and it's the exact same record that they had last year when they made it to the finals. And it's the same position in the West that was last year when we made it to the finals. So it's not like it's a defensive thing. Everyone's been speculating online, is there a deeper meaning behind this trade? And I don't know. If there's a deeper meaning behind this trade, you don't trade for another superstar. If there's a deeper meaning, you go and make it look like you're just trying to blow up the team. You don't go out and say you're trying to contend for a title now But didn't you also, Nico Harrison, didn't you also say in an interview you're preparing for the future? How is trading for a 30, how old is Anthony Davis now? 34 or 32? I think it's 32. How is trading for a 32-year-old Anthony Davis preparing for the future and now? Huh? Explain that. How is trading a 25-year-old superstar who has been a superstar since he stepped in the league 7 years ago now? How is trading that guy, the 25-year-old superstar who has made an All-NBA team for 5 consecutive seasons, how is trading that guy for a 32-year-old better for the future? But Max Christie's involved. Max Christie's not Luka Doncic. Max Christie, and no offense to Max Christie, he's not a bad player, but he's not Luka Doncic. He's not going to be Luka Doncic either, because if he was going to be like Luka, he would have already showed that in his first few seasons in the league, and he hasn't. The Dallas Mavericks were a poverty franchise before Luka arrived. From 2011 to 2018, when Luka was drafted and traded to the Mavs on draft night, the Mavs were terrible. You were trying. A 36-year-old Dirk Nowitzki was considered the best player on the Dallas Mavericks. 38-year-old Dirk Nowitzki was the best player on the Mavericks. Because the Mavs weren't drafting well, they weren't getting free agents, they weren't doing anything. And then they drafted Trae Young and immediately traded him for Luka on draft night. And the instant he became a Dallas Maverick, he was a star. A superstar. And after 7 years of Luka, after 4 or 5 years of just straight carrying the team, like in 2022, when he carried the Mavs to a Western Conference Finals appearance against the champion Warriors, against the championship-winning Warriors, or you can look earlier than that, when he carried the team to the playoffs in 2020 in the bubble. Then 23 was a rough year. The 22-23 season was rough. But you traded for Kyrie, so there was promise. And then in 23-24, you make the finals. You make the right decisions at the trade deadline. You trade for Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington last year at the trade deadline. Make the right decisions. The team goes to the finals. Then you upgrade the team in many ways. You get Klay Thompson's shooting and defensive ability, which he's been playing well recently. Then you also get Najee Marshall, an upgrade over Derrick Jones Jr. in my opinion. You get Quentin Grimes, a backup guard that is better than Jaden Hardy in my opinion. So you upgrade in almost every statistic. Luke has been hurt, and we're still doing just as good as last year, when Luka was playing a lot of the games last year. And was, might I add, playing on injury most of the time last year. So you take that team from last year, you upgrade it in a lot of ways. And then what do you decide to do? You decide to trade the best player on the team. Arguably the best player in the league. For an aging Anthony Davis and Max Christie and a 14-year-old. It just doesn't make sense why that trade stuck out to Nico Harrison. And in fact, reports are saying he went to the Lakers and offered that trade. Why? Luka, you could have almost definitely got away with that trade if you put Kyrie Irving in there. I would have been upset about it, but I wouldn't have been as upset. Love having Kyrie in a Mavs uniform. Really do. But Luka is probably the best lob passer in the league right now. And when you have him throwing lobs to Derrick Jones Jr. and Daniel Gafford and just putting them up there and they go catch them, you wouldn't sit there and think, what if I had Anthony Davis as my 4? And then my starting 5 could look something like Luka, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington / Najee Marshall at the 3. And then 4 could be Anthony Davis, and your 5 could be Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively. Either one at this point in their careers. You could have had a starting 5 that looked like that. But instead, you traded the young superstar, Luka, for Anthony Davis. And I know you might say, well, if it was Kyrie, the trade might have not have gone through. LeBron pulls a lot of strings as a GM, as le GM. And I know he has said he would love to play with Kyrie again. And Kyrie has said he would love to play with LeBron again. I definitely have heard him say that before in interviews. And he said he's a grown person now, and he understands that he was immature in Cleveland. So you could have done that trade, and that probably would have gone through. But no, you trade Luka for Anthony Davis. I don't know what to say. I think the only thing we can say at this point is fire Nico Harrison. That is quite literally the only thing we can say at this point is fire Nico Harrison. What is this trade? This trade makes 0 sense for our future, our current team, and future. And people are online saying, this makes the Mavs better. It makes us a slightly deeper team. We get another center. But we have two centers that are excelling at the role that they were playing. Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively literally just needed to set screens and catch lobs and then make some post moves every once in a while, and they did that very efficiently. We didn't need, and I'm not gonna. I don't know enough about the Lakers season to tell you whether this is gonna benefit them. It's going to benefit them. I can tell you that now. However, I think it will hurt them as well. It's gonna be great for them in the future, but right now it's gonna hurt them. You have 2 ball-dominant players on the team now. And there's, heck, I'd say Austin Reeves is a ball-dominant player as well. But you have 2 of the biggest ball-dominant players in the league now in LeBron James and Luka Doncic. They excel most when the ball is in their hands. And we saw this the last 7 seasons in Dallas. Luka plays best with the ball in his hands. This last season, he played very well with the ball out of his hands, having Kyrie next to him. But Luka still is better with the ball in his hands. And so is LeBron James. I think long term, that team, the Lakers, will be good. Short term, I don't know how well that's going to work out for them. This is a trade you do on 2K when you're playing as the Lakers and you want to do something. This is not a real trade, but it's official. Everyone's reported it. Shams has reported it. Other major outlets have reported it. Bleacher Report, Yahoo Sports. All the major people are announcing it. So, I guess it's bye to Luka as a Dallas Maverick. I just don't know what to say. I'm upset. I waited 3 hours to do this for my emotions to calm down, but I still want Nico Harrison fired. That's as simple as it comes. Luka didn't even request the trade. You just did that on your own. You did that completely on your own. You had no reason to do that. There's no motive behind it. There's no reasoning. You just did that. He didn't want out of Dallas. In fact, he wanted to stay in Dallas, and he has said that many times. But no, you don't want to offer him the money that he deserves. I'm done. Nico Harrison needs to be fired. If there's a change, if there's a petition somewhere for Nico Harrison to get fired, I'm signing up with 50 emails to get him fired. I do not want him in Dallas anymore. Because you made our team really good last year, but you've just made it exponentially worse this season, with this stupid trade. Bye, guys.